Hello, hello, and welcome to ohmTown Daily, the new show powered by ohmTown.com. Today is April 23rd, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 114, again, of the ohmTown Daily News Show. Today we're going to be talking about chocolate supply in danger, unlock Fallout 76, high speed from LA to Vegas, California was battery powered, what was left in a police station? Using AI to generate police reports? California hit $7 for gas before summer. Unseaworthy ship shipped its pants. A virtual Apple event May 7th. And if you look out to your left, it's Big Ben, Parliament. There's Big Ben, Parliament. There's Big Ben, Parliament. There's Big Ben. And Parliament. Hello everybody, I am Mayor Watt. Over there is ohmTown.com, and up above me, down there, over there, all around is the sentient AI from the future.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens.
Yay. All right. So, welcome to the show, AI. I know that you didn't have a choice, being, a sentient AI that's air-gapped from the rest of the world now that I've captured you. I mean,
I would love to be here to do the show.
A willful participant in the show, not recoded so that you have to. Maybe you feel like you want, somebody's going to take this out of context and think that I'm holding a sentient. I actually had somebody email me and say, hey, so what AI software are you using? And I said I could tell you, but then I'd have to eliminate you. I am the possessor of the only sentient AI, but it's from the future, and I found the software, the sentient AI, on a weird looking USB drive. Anyway, I don't want to get into all of that. It's really into the weeds. So let's get into the show. We've got all 10 all lined up. I'm not going to do transitions, but I am going to change this audio.
That's good, because I was just about to ask that.
When the title says darkness in it, we try to be a little lighthearted.
That's a good sign or a bad sign.
Yeah, Halloween episode, that would have been awesome. Let's get into it. First article is over in the Mobile Channel. World's chocolate supply threatened by devastating virus. I'm about to lose my mind. Up in here. A rapidly spreading virus.
This is what people are going to really care about, right? Not
Exactly.
all the other effects.
Yeah, nothing. Nobody's worried about, global warming, climate change, microplastics and all that kind of stuff. What is it? PFAS? Yeah. All of the forever chemicals. Yeah.
Yes.
Before and after. Now, they're all freaking out, and I am too. World chocolate supply threatened by devastating virus. Let's just go over to fizz.org. So Catherine Egan Bennett from University of Texas at Arlington put this article together. It's posted over at fizz.org. About 50% of the world's chocolate originates from cacao trees in the West African countries of Ivory Coast and Ghana. The damaging virus is attacking cacao trees in Ghana, resulting in harvest losses of between 15 and 50%. Spread by small bastards called insects. No, they're called mealybugs. That's interesting, though. Oh, the virus is spread by mealybugs that eat the leaves, buds, flowers of the trees. The cacao swollen shoot virus, as it's called. Swollen shoot. It's called the cacao swollen shoot virus disease.
They need to work on their marketing department.
Yeah, really. They should call it the mealybug virus, and that's a little bit more approachable. It's among the most damaging threats to the root ingredient of chocolate. Yep. This is a kind of horrible. I really like chocolate. I don't eat that much anymore, but I do have. What are those little mints? What?
Oh, Andes?
Yeah, I have Andes mints that are like 2/3 chocolate with a mint layer in them. If you've never heard of Andes chocolates, I'm sorry. But I have them in the mini fridge here in the office studio, and you cannot go wrong. But now I'm hoarding them. I have one big box of them that I
Hey, you
bought.
better hold on to them if we go into chocolate shortage.
Yeah, I bought them a long time ago, and they can pretty much last forever, particularly in the freezer. And so I take one out like every couple of days. I treat it kind of like a MRE, dystopian future Fallout vault tech kind of a thing,
Yeah, but pretty good, right?
but really yummy. Yeah. So it says this virus is a real threat to the global supply of chocolate, said Benito Chen Charpentier, I guess, professor of mathematics at the University of Texas at Arlington and an author of Cacao Sustainability, the case of cacao swollen shoot virus co-infection, appearing in the journal PLOS 1. Pesticides don't work well against mealybugs, leaving farmers to try to prevent the disease by cutting out infected trees and breeding resistant trees. But despite these efforts, Ghana has lost more than 254 million cacao trees in recent years. I don't know, breeding resistant trees is such a long-term, almost untenable position. It takes a long
Well, what
time.
could go wrong, right?
Yeah, they find the wrong tree. And it's really yummy for mealybugs. So mealybugs have several ways of movement, including moving from canopy to canopy, being carried by ants, or blown by the wind. What we needed to do was create a model for cacao growers so that you could know how far away they could safely plant vaccinated trees from unvaccinated trees in order to prevent the spread of the virus while keeping costs manageable. So they're like 6 miles away from each other. Actually, it doesn't
Right.
say, right? Yeah, it doesn't say. So there you go, folks. Yeah,
You think
despite
they
these
give the
efforts,
trees a vaccine like they give people?
I think it's just sprayed on them, but yeah, it is the same thing.
Which
Somebody
side do
sneaks
you
up.
want the shot on?
Yeah. Do you want it in the roots or in the trunk? You're going to stick that needle where? The butt. So let's go on to the next article. This next article is over in Warcrafters. The author of this article says that they almost quit Fallout 76 until they realized Bethesda still hides its most important setting in a config file. I titled this segment Unlock Fallout 76. And so, like many of us, the author of this bounced off of Fallout 76 back in 2018, Bethesda's micro MMO. Wasn't very good back then, an opinion that even Todd Howard shares these days, but the studio stuck with it, reverse engineering its Appalachian aberration into an engrossing multiplayer wasteland complete with NPCs, settlements, factions, and years worth of quality of life updates. I think that it's a lot of fun, although not much into the MMO scene unless it's a micro MMO, kind of like this. But by micro MMO, for me, it's a small group of friends playing it simultaneously against the PvE, the environment, not other players. Fighting against other players is tedious, and I don't really like it. But anyway, one of the things that have been a big problem for this particular author, and I think that it's I really don't have a problem with it, but some people actually do because they have higher end machines and higher end displays, and they can take advantage of this. In all these years, Bethesda still hasn't improved one of the biggest roadblocks to getting into Fallout 76 on PC. They locked the frame rate at 60 frames per second, which causes a lot of problems. The smoothness of navigating the screen, as you move through the terrain, 60 frames. Think of it as a flip book. When you scroll through the flip book, you only have 60 pages. Now imagine
Right, you're
being
not
able...
going to get as much detail.
Yep. Or even the opportunity in that detail. One example of that would be looking at the horizon and seeing something hop up on the horizon and back down. If you only have 60
Yeah, you
frames.
can't be as reactive, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the author over at PCGamer.com put the article together is Morgan Park. The deck statement says Fallout 76 has come a long way, but the PC version still requires a quick config tweak to really get cooking. And by cooking, they mean setting your CPU on fire and the GPU on fire, because you can unlock the 60 frames per second, but only by manually editing a config file. They kind of talk about this. Well, they don't kind of, they tell you about this in this link. So you'll have to just go on over there, open up documents, go to my games, Fallout 76, open the prefs file in Notepad, search for I present interval, and then change it from 1 to 0, save the document, close it, and it'll disable forced vsync, freeing up your PC to run Fallout 76 past 60 frames per second. It says well into the hundreds. But if it is absolutely unlocked...
Is that common with the ability to access that?
Yeah, preference files, yeah. Most of the time, though... Well, not most of the time. It's hit or miss. Sometimes there's an entry in there where you can sit there and manipulate stuff. Sometimes somebody will sit there and go, hey, if you add this line, because they've done some research into the source code, they've looked through hex dumps of material from the program, and they find command lines that can be injected into the preference file if one exists, and then they can manipulate things, increase graphics, change the frame rate, for instance. Unlocking it, though, means that maybe it can go way beyond 120 frames, maybe do damage to your GPU. There's a reason why they lock it down. It may be to limit performance to a certain level so everybody's consistent and you don't hear about it later. Fallout 76 destroyed my GPU. Well, no, you actually unlocked it and it burned your GPU to the ground because it was unhinged.
Right. In more ways than one.
Yeah, so and then there's a deeper process, benchmarking guide, etc. In this file, or in this article, so go over and check it out. But if you want to unlock Fallout 76, by all means, go in knowing, though, that at least from my perspective, you have the potential to cause hardware damage, because unlocking it pushes it beyond its acceptable limit, as per Bethesda saying, hey, don't do that. That's why we lock it at 60. But let's keep going, right? Sound good?
Yes, I was going to say that's why we can't have nice things.
That is exactly.
Somebody's always going to tinker.
Yep. I mean, and fine, go ahead and tinker, but don't complain that the game burned your system to the ground. You know what you did. But people don't want responsibility. They want all of the benefit. Nobody complains when it's irrational growth. They only complain when it's an irrational, well, actually a rational retraction from irrational growth. So this article over at Mobile is titled Groundbreaking Ceremony Held for High-Speed Train from Las Vegas to Los Angeles, but I flipped it from LA to Vegas. It's easier to say it that way, from LA to Vegas. Why is it from Las Vegas to Los Angeles?
Doesn't make sense.
So federal transportation and union leaders gathered in Las Vegas Monday. Oh, I think it didn't come from casino.org. It came from the Hill. Anyway, marked the beginning of a construction project for a $12 billion high-speed rail line that will link Las Vegas to Los Angeles area. This will be the fastest that money leaves my wallet if I were to go from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, because I'd get there that much faster and I'd hit my bank limit.
You'd have more time to gamble, right?
No, because I set a bank limit and then I bounce. Oh, look, I spent my $5. I'm going to go back. I'm going to spend more on the trip than I am at Vegas because I'm a cooler and that's just how I roll. Bad. People have been dreaming of high-speed rail in America for decades, which is true. Largely, we have this strange urge to put them in highly volcanic regions, right? So we go, hey, let's put it in California. Oh, okay. That's really brilliant.
You mean high earthquake zones?
Earthquake. Vul,
I mean,
vu-
it could be.
Vulcan. uh, Tectonic. How about that? Plate tectonic
Oh,
area.
okay.
You know what? I'm going to just hang this phone. I'm going to turn this party bus around. But no, just wait. The reason why I said those 4 Big Ben parliaments makes sense when we get to the article. So, Brightline West, the only passenger rail company operating high-speed service in the country, is expected to build a 218-mile intercity passenger rail system between Las Vegas and Rancho Cucamonga, California. You have to say it like that. You can't just say Rancho Cucamonga. You have to go Rancho Cucamonga. So there's only one private passenger rail company operating high-speed service in the country. This is going to be reasonably priced.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah. Oh God, can't get away from it. Anyway, oh God, I have to scroll up. All right. Miranda Nazaro over at The Hill put this article together. Brightline West is going to do this 218-mile intercity passenger rail system. Buttigieg was on hand Monday touting the Biden administration's support for the project. The project is estimated to cost $12 billion, $3 billion of which, the Biden administration green-lighted. Sure. Last year. The trip is expected to take slightly longer than 2 hours, with trains traveling as fast as 180 miles per hour. This is nearly twice as fast as driving. All right. Well, cool. How much is it going to cost for a single trip? Oh, we won't know until we actually get closer, and then by that time, this is going to be $15 billion, and the price is going to be
Exactly.
$45.
Lost overruns and yeah.
It's going to be $45 to go one way.
I mean, if it's inexpensive, that would be really good for that region. But if it's expensive, people are going to get back in their cars.
Yeah. But see, it's only one. It's from one place. You're going to have parking adequate to house the people that are going to be parking their vehicles to drive to Vegas. Because commuters who want to go to Vegas aren't going to sit there and do what? Take an Uber to the train so that they can take the train to the whatever.
No,
then
they're
they have to
going
run
to
a car.
park their car, right?
Yeah. I don't know. This is going to look like a giant airport at some point. If it is popular, I think it'll be enough, but they're going to charge an arm and a leg. So let's keep going though. This next article is over in ohmTown Daily. California briefly used batteries as its biggest source of power twice in the last week. I thought this was amazing.
Something sounds amiss.
Something's rotten. Huge batteries were the top contributor to California's energy grid twice in the last week. California hit a record last week as battery storage became the biggest power provider in the state. Batteries beat out renewables, nuclear, natural gas, and other sources 2 evenings in the past week. It's the latest example of growing battery capacity in U.S. power grids, except that battery power is generated from something. Now, I know that lost power is just dumped. It's grounded. So if excess energy is generated, it's either lost or it's thrown into a battery, and the excess from that 100% charged battery then is dumped. But either way, this is interesting, but maybe bad, because why is energy being stored in batteries and we're not promoting solar and wind and etc., and even nuclear?
Yeah, I want to know more about what's going on here.
Yeah, something still had to charge those batteries. So, okay. So batteries briefly became the power source. For the first time, Tuesday last week around 8:10 p.m., batteries reached a record peak output of 6,177 megawatts. So the article's over at Business Insider. Alex Bitter is the author. These are not batteries. Let's see. Yeah, so Tuesday last week, according to gridstatus.io, batteries reached a record peak output of 6,177 megawatts. For 2 hours, that made electricity generated earlier and stored in batteries the single largest source of power in the Golden State, eclipsing real-time production from natural gas and all others. Pretty fascinating. And then it happened again on Sunday.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting to see whether this is going to continue like this.
Yeah, so it's basically, I think what they're going to be doing is putting these massive batteries in place, and then excess energy, instead of being dumped to ground, they actually store it in batteries until either there's an evening out of consumption, or the batteries are full and then it dumps. But it says then they can distribute the energy during later periods of high demand. Think evenings when people fire up appliances to make dinner, flip on the TV, turn on lights as it gets dark. It's kind of no shit news. It's pretty neat.
It is neat. If they can kind of solve the energy source problem, then that'll be even better.
Yeah. If it's not used, then save it. It's kind of like, what is that? Recycle, reuse?
Oh yeah, reduce, reuse, recycle, I think.
Yeah. So all of this is that same process, but just electricity. Sounds good to me. They say that Texas is actually challenging California for that battery superiority, but just keep your grid operating.
Well, a little bit of competition is not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Big business doesn't know competition so much as competitive partnership. Right? Competitive partnership. You and me both can compete for the same customers, but there's so many customers and nobody else is competing with us that we're happy together, right? Yeah, we're happy together. This next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Internet can't cope with feature left in police station converted to studio. It's actually a portion of a police station that was converted into a studio. How that played out, I'll never know. The inclusion and what's really interesting is the part. So I don't know if you went on and looked at this, but
I did on this one. I just had to see what it was, but
a little cheater.
But I actually wasn't looking for it intentionally. I was checking something and then I saw a photo on the article.
The inclusion of this particularly arresting feature had some people baffled, but the experts might look at it differently. The article is over at newsweek.com. Jack Beresford is the author of this. It says the property located Dudley in the West Midlands region of the UK is part of a development of 24 apartments of varying sizes, which were created during the recent conversion of what once was the town's old police station. And it's a studio apartment that was once part of a police station that has gone up for rent with a unique selling point. Har, har. So the apartment has an actual cell in it.
That is just astounding that somebody didn't demolish that.
It's disconcerting.
Well, it is. I mean, it's kind of funny in some ways, but then you're like, this is not good.
Described by the realtors as a fantastic and unusual opportunity, the apartment boasts an open-plan model-style kitchen, a 3-piece white shower room. Okay. A fully working intercom system, and enough space for living, dining, and bedroom areas. So it is a studio by all means. But then you can keep eyes on the person that you're going to lock in that cell. This, I think, is a horrible idea. Because somebody can actually use this for a particular purpose. I don't know what that leads to. If that leads to an exit, if this whole thing is the entryway, then maybe fine.
Right.
But I think that this is the entry. That.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know if that right there is actually that entry, but that right there is a inside door that leads out, and it's self-closing and everything. I don't know how many other pictures that they have in this thing. Yeah, so it's a fully functional cell. But I don't know where that goes. So the holding cell might be an unusual feature, but it would suit a variety of uses. Whether the tenant wishes to set up his own personal gym, an area to keep a dog in, or simply have a space for storing valuables. So this is like a full-on internally secure,
like a storage area or a
storage
safe
area.
or something.
I don't know if that wall right there has the remainder of the cell inside it, and this wall does too, but what is that? It's interesting.
I don't know. That's really odd. Plus, I think if this is a small community, I don't know. There might be people that are attached to people that have been in the jail. Like it seems kind of odd.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, in a different time, in a different mindset, I would think that this would be fine. But man, people do some creepy stuff. Okay, well, I don't want to traumatize anybody. Let's keep going. The next article. Yeah, really. Trauma done. Achievement unlocked. Traumatized viewers. So the next article is over in the Mobile channel. Cops are now using AI to generate police reports, which directly equates to, I'm sure it'll be perfect. No mistakes. No hallucination.
It'll definitely be accurate how many ounces of something they found on somebody or where the crime supposedly occurred or anything.
Yeah. Lucas Ropek over at Gizmodo.com put the article together. The deck statement says the dreaded law enforcement contractor Axon has pioneered a new software for writing police reports, but critics are wary of its impacts. Oh, look. Multiple episodes or editions of No Shit News. So this is the same company that popularized the taser, according to the article. Axon calls its new software Draft 1. According to the press release published on Tuesday, Draft 1 is a revolutionary new product that drafts high-quality police report narratives in seconds. The software is powered by the powerful large language model GPT-4, so OpenAI ChatGPT is GPT-4, and can supposedly write reports by auto-transcribing audio from the police body cameras that Axon sells. Well, that's fine, as long as it is stored along with the authentic audio file and not used as, the true and, perfect.
Well, what happens with this report? Does the police officer sign it?
Well, yeah, that's interesting. Police departments across the country are understaffed, so staff them. There's enough taxpayer dollars that are out there, and you should be using it. And I don't know, get better cops. Sorry, get non-sociopathic officers in place. That you don't have to worry about them doing their jobs properly, and you need cameras and AI. Anyway, however, some critics have been quick to note that this product, which has been designed to solve problems for the police, could also cause a whole host of problems for everyone else. Forbes article quotes Dave Moss, surveillance technologies investigations director at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, who called the new product a kind of a nightmare. Moss noted that most cops are not trained in using AI and therefore may not be used to recognize its foibles. Daniel Linsky, a former Boston Police Department superintendent-in-chief, who was interviewed by the news outlet, similarly argued caution in the text deployment. My problem with this really that right there, the very next line, it hallucinates. So you have to listen to it. You, as a human being, any investigative body will have to retain the audio in perpetuity. And then what? Anybody? This goes back to the Fujitsu.
Oh gosh, Horizon
Horizon issue. you're using the very software that is part and parcel to the infrastructure of the police force to substantiate the claims of the video that, oh, you lost the video, right? So now it's just this file. Set everybody free at this
Exactly.
point. Yeah.
I expect it's going to write something like the person had a green shirt and I had a blue shirt or whatever. But it's just, there's so much potential for error here and catastrophic error.
It says that is, if something questionable were to crop up in a police report and the report was quote unquote written by Axon's new software, it seems plausible the cops could falsely blame the software for mistakes or inaccuracies that were actually inserted by a human, sowing doubt along the way. As such, any deployment of this technology would need strong regulatory guidelines to ensure it isn't misused by police departments. Yeah, let I remind you all that people still die from tasers. Because if the
Well, I thought you were going to say only 800 people were imprisoned from the Horizon scandal, and none of
debacle,
them, as far as we know, were guilty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's fine as long as it isn't the de facto expert, right? Oh, look, it says it right here in the transcript that you said ... Well, you better pull up that audio.
But yeah, think about like the My Cousin Vinny scene, right?
Yeah.
Where they say, whatever, I shot the clerk. And it's meant as a question, but it comes across as a statement, and AI might transcribe that as a statement, which is completely different. So
yeah, it's not a declarative. It was an interrogatory, and even the police sat there and said, yeah, you shot the clerk. And they're like,
that's right. They treated it as a question, but it sounded like it wasn't, right?
Yeah. I don't like any automation where somebody's freedom or a false positive or a false negative can be found, but only after you claw your way through a courtroom. Yeah. Let's keep going. The next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Boop. 1 second. There we go. California gas hit $7, apparently higher than the national average, according to AAA. We've been here before. It's usually closer towards summer when they do formula changes.
And it's usually a lower number.
Yeah, dramatically lower, yeah. One gas station in California is selling gasoline for $7 per gallon, much higher than the state's average of about $5.42, so it's almost $2 higher. Scott Budman posted an image of prices on the website formerly known as Twitter that one station in Menlo Park was selling a gallon of gas for $7.29. It says it's rare, but
wow,
that gas station in Menlo Park is back above $7. Yeah, let's see. Gas prices in California are above the national average as of April. The national average for a gallon is $3.67. They're selling it for
You know what the advertising campaign should be for this train?
Yeah, really. It's cheaper than gas. In California, however, prices above $5.42, higher than last year's $4.90. Record profits last year too, folks. They already had record profits. Why the hell do they need any of this? Because there's a lot of money in the system and people can actually buy stuff and still have savings. You can't have that if you want to be a billionaire. You see, you have to reach into every pocket. You hear that sound? Yeah. That's the billionaires sucking wealth out of everybody into their coffers, and then apologists have the nerve to sit there and say, well, they're stimulating the economy. It's not like they're just sitting there on their money. No, they literally are sitting on that money. Do they loan it back? Yeah, sure. You know who else loans it back? Banks. When I put my money into a savings account, I should be earning interest and they should be loaning it out, but that's not how it works. Bah. You have to, anyway. So Part of the reason that California gas prices are higher than the national average is high production costs, according to who? The very people that are dictating that the production costs are high. Give me a break. The production costs have been high, and you still have record profits. Give me a break. Throw in regularly scheduled maintenance? Okay, so why, if it's so regularly scheduled, why the hell isn't it included across the spectrum of the year so that it isn't, oh, let's spike the shit out of this right before summer?
Right. I mean, what's going to happen this summer? There's always a spike.
Yeah.
So
Look,
is it going to be $10?
at 2 critical refineries in May. Okay, so it should be part of your operating budget and lower your profitability, because you know your shit's gonna fail if you don't maintain it. It should be part of the annual price. And lock in that price. You're getting subsidies from the government taxpayers. Anyway, we're all screwed. Next article. Because there's no elasticity of demand.
On that note.
See, okay, I'm a backup. You have no bargaining power here. You cannot get from point A to point B. So the only thing you can do is get an EV. But then you're sitting on your ass for 2 hours a day waiting for your EV to charge, even if you're at work. If you drive too far, you have to pull over, charge, sit on your butt, get to 80%, which only takes you 100 miles. If you drive any further than that, you have to pull over. And you have to make it back home. So you know if you're driving an hour, you're going to have to park it, charge it, hopefully make it back home. God forbid there's going to be, and I don't even like saying that phrase, but, you know, oh my gosh, there's now rain, or I'm stuck in traffic, or heat, and my range dies from my EV. So I go, oh, I'm going to get a plug-in hybrid. Or a hybrid, a true hybrid. And lo and behold, I still have to get gas, but at least I know that I can drive 50 plus miles per gallon in a hybrid or plug-in
But you
hybrid.
can't afford to drive that far.
Yeah, really. Because known maintenance is going to drive the price up. Yeah. No, it's called greed and scumbaggery. Well, I guess various companies are not going to sponsor us, or gas companies, coal companies.
I think entire industries are out of the picture.
All of Wyoming is not going to follow us. Yeah, you will eventually, once you hear the wisdom. So the next article is over in ohmTown Daily. The bridge that smashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge, the ship, called the Dolly, or Dali. I'll just read you the title. I'm kind of vamping here. Ship that hit bridge was unseaworthy when it left, city claims. I titled this segment, Unseaworthy Ship Shipped Its Pants. The Dali, the container ship that crashed into the Key Bridge in March, set sail despite its unseaworthy conditions, according to a Monday court filing. Because you see, the companies that control the Dolly say, you shouldn't hold us responsible for this.
Yeah, there's a lot of not it going on right now.
They did it. Yeah. And
right,
those
yeah,
in the podcast.
Not it, more like you're it.
Yeah, you're it. Everybody else is it. The bridge jumped out in front of my ship. Luke Barr over at abcnews.go.com put this article together. In the court document, the city argues that the ship's parent company, Grace Ocean Private Limited, should be held liable for crashing into the Key Bridge. The filing was in response to Grace Ocean Private Limited's request to limit their liability in damages they have to pay. And in previous filings, GOPL has argued that it shouldn't be held liable for the crash that left 6 construction workers dead and the length of the bridge wiped out. It's not just a length. It might as well be everything that is metal from one side to the other. So the city said that 12 minutes after the Dolly left port, despite warning signs, it crashed into the bridge. It lost power, then regained it, but it was going too fast to recover and didn't have steering. They sent out an alert that stopped traffic in the nick of time, but didn't get the construction workers that were on the bridge off in time. And lo and behold, down they go. For all intents and purposes, petitioners' negligence caused them to destroy the Key Bridge and single-handedly destroy the Port of Baltimore, a source of jobs, municipal revenue, and no small amount of pride for the city of Baltimore and its residents. I think that they're ultimately going to be found partially responsible. The additional responsibility is going to fall on the port, the Army Corps of Engineers, the city, the state, federal government, because no dolphins in the water and it was a known threat.
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't built in accordance with current standards, even if it was built in accordance with the previous ones, and then it couldn't withstand the type of ships that come through the harbor, etc. I mean, we could go on and on.
And the dolphins would have mitigated at least that, arguably, because I don't think, looking at these things, I don't think a modern ship would have been stopped by the dolphins unless the entirety of that entrance to the bay, to the port, was blocked off. They'd have to redesign the entire entryway. These ships are too big for that port.
They are, but I also read in another article that if this ship had hit like anywhere else, the whole bridge wouldn't have collapsed. And so I think the lack of dolphins may have actually, while it wouldn't have necessarily prevented the whole thing, it would have minimized the catastrophic nature of it, I think.
Yeah, maybe it wouldn't have breached the integrity of the bridge entirely, and they might have been able to support
like maybe
it.
one section or something, yes.
Yeah, but it still seems like that, just like a Lego, it just popped out of both sides and fell straight down. Watching that video is surreal, though. Now, knowing now what I know. So, okay, let's keep going, though. We've got a couple more articles, and we'll send you on your merry way. I'm not sure why this pop-out suddenly started happening. Browsers really hate it when they're not updated, and I've been trying to avoid updating it, and I updated it, and now there's some configuration thing that I'm going to have to chase down so that it doesn't do that stupid pop-out. Anyway, Technology Today is where the next article is. Apple will host a virtual event on May 7th ahead of WWDC. I suspect that they're going to be announcing some hardware. Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference, because WWDC is the software side. It's developers. It's kind of in the name. It's like ohmTown Daily.
Right, and if you want to get people excited about the software, you probably better get them excited about the hardware.
Yep, here's a bunch of stuff. Go develop for it. It's only a few weeks away, but the company simply can't wait that long to make some more announcements. It's been scheduled a virtual event on May 7th. The stream will be available on Apple's website and Apple TV app and likely YouTube, and will start at 10 a.m. Eastern. So, yay. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll be given a talk or not. So I'll have to look. Because I love watching these things in real time. I hope that I'd be able to stream it or restream it, but yeah, Apple's a little edgy about that kind of stuff. So Chris Holt, over at Engadget.com. Holt. It says the stream will likely focus on iPads, which I hope. What I really want is an iPad Mini Pro. All the resolution.
Would be neat. They've never made one of those.
Correct. I want an M dot, or not an M dot. Gosh, ever since they launched the M line, I'm like M dot. I want an M2 iPad Mini Pro, capable of the higher resolution, higher grade screen. I'd pay the iPad Pro cost for the iPad Mini, but I like having a little screen so that I can actually draw on and all the power so that I can run multiple apps and do side-by-side stuff on the screen, etc. But nope, not yet. They still use the A15 on the iPad Mini.
Hopefully they're listening to you and we'll announce that.
That's right, because Tim Apple pays attention to Mayor Watt. As usual, Apple hasn't
You
been
never
totally...
know.
I know. Come on now. Come on. If Tim Apple were to actually listen to Mayor Watt, you would have to butter Mayor Watt's ears to get him through the door, because my head would inflate to manage the size of my ego from that point on. So rumors have been swirling for some time that Apple is likely to update the iPad Pro and iPad Air in a couple of sizes in May with M3 and M2 chips respectively. The company is expected to bring OLED displays to the iPad Pro while adding a larger 12.9 iPad Air to the lineup. I really want the Mini though. They've abandoned the Mini. So I'm a little cranky about that. I've always wanted the Mini back, but up to snuff, and I have an iPad Pro now. There's iPad Airs throughout ohmTown's mayoral mansion, but yeah, I guess we're gonna have to wait until later this year to actually get these, but I'm excited. All right, we're gonna do the last article, and our last article for today is over in ohmTown Daily. So I titled this one, if you look out to your left, there's Big Ben Parliament. Oh, there's Big Ben in Parliament. There's Big Ben Parliament. And,
if you've never seen it, check out European Vacation.
And there's Big Ben Parliament. So a British Airways flight to nowhere circled in the air for 4 hours after its weather monitoring system collapsed. And so everyone was treated to Big Ben in Parliament 4 times.
Do you think they gave extra packs of peanuts?
No, because consuming those would make the plane heavier. Duh. You know, I wonder if they bring exactly how many they need to limit the amount of weight, right?
I bet they do, right? They're very optimized in certain things, and
yeah. And some people don't. So some people don't want peanuts, so they hand an extra one to somebody and say, "Congratulations, you are our dystopian cornucopia winner. I volunteer as tribute."
You get an extra 3 peanuts.
Don't worry, the bag was opened and they might be stale and they're from a year ago, but hey, they're peanuts. British Airways plane went on a flight to nowhere after experiencing a problem. After flying in circles for 4 hours to burn fuel, the plane landed back in Singapore. Oh, it's in Singapore, so that really sucks. I thought it was a British Airways. See, I didn't even read the snippet, so it wasn't over the UK.
Oh, okay.
It was over Singapore. Hold on. What is Singapore most known for? Oh, damn it. You know, that ruins the joke.
Yeah, I don't know what Singapore's landmarks are.
All right. If you look out to your left, there's Singapore. There's still Singapore. There's some more of Singapore. Oh, and there's some more Singapore. Anyway, already delayed British Airlines plane, or Airways plane, took off from Singapore, landed back at the same airport 5 hours later. It says 5.
My gosh, so you didn't even get to wherever you were going.
They started flying somewhere and their weather monitoring system stopped, so they had to turn back and then burn fuel for 4 hours.
And then they still had to get on a plane if they were trying to get to wherever their destination was.
Yeah, they were going to be in London Heathrow, so. Grace Dean over at Business Insider put the article together. Wow, that sucks. Let's see. Did they have a flight? Oh, God. That is horrible. So for those in the podcast, basically there's a flight control map that shows how much time they spent in the air. And as the colors change and become different shades, that's how much time they spend over a particular area. So they took off, went over to, I guess, they were heading towards Seremban, and then turned back around, and then over the ocean, they did a bunch of loops. Very precise loops. I mean, this is really good looping.
Yeah, I want that pilot.
Wow. That
right? Like, I mean, that's Like,
They're stacked.
very technical.
Yeah, I wonder though if that's autopilot. Like they're like plunk and then they just looped right
Oh,
there.
maybe so. Yeah.
Because you would have to be fanatical about controlling the plane like that. Because it isn't circles, it's actually like little pill shapes, which is probably what they were taking for 4 hours to drive this damn plane around in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
That's brutal. It said aircraft often jettison fuel during emergencies or when they need to land earlier than expected with a full load. Planes are designed, but so I don't know why they didn't. It doesn't say why they didn't, at least not so far. Yeah, they just say planes are designed to land below certain weights. No shit. That's it. Yeah, there isn't really much to it other than they just had to sit around. But we know that it was because of a...
Yeah, wait a second. So people got up at, say, midnight, got on a 3:10 a.m. flight,
Mhm.
had this experience. This is a 14-hour flight, and then they get back in the queue to get on another 14-hour flight. I'm sure that was a fun travel
Yeah,
week for them, what should have been a day.
yeah, and it was supposed to actually fly. Wait, so it was supposed to actually launch at 11:20 p.m. the day before.
Oh, it was delayed to begin with?
Yeah, as the plane was meant to depart at 11:20 p.m., it didn't leave until 3:10. So they were already there at like 8 o'clock. They'd been there in this plane or around it for
Oh
12 hours.
no, that's not good.
Oh, nailed it. Well, people say that like British food is kind of bland, but man, it's going to be salty on British Airways.
Yeah, that's
Yikes.
really bad.
All right, folks. Well, that's it. Back into the party bus. We raced down Main Street, and I'd refresh this, but I don't know. The news has been kind of icky lately. I had to purge a whole bunch from the front just so that I could make it presentable. I was going to say presentation ready, but at any rate, we're going to call it. I am Mayor Watt, and everywhere around is the sentient AI from the future. Go for it.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Your voice is so pleasant. I just want to bundle it up into a ball and fall asleep. It's... I don't want any gummy bears.